Hey, I'm Hunt, and this is Hunt on LSU, your channel for LSU Fighting Tiger football talk. Enjoy the video. We want you to leave a comment below, hit that like button, and subscribe right below the video. Enjoy. Yesterday, I had a chance to go up to campus after LSU's practice was completed, and we got to talk to three Tigers. We spoke with Bradyn Swinson, who was the SEC Defensive Player of the Week. We spoke with Ashton, and we also talked on the offensive side to CJ Daniels. And I thought about playing some sound here. I don't know that the sound is as powerful as sometimes it is. I just want to kind of convey the conversations that we were having with those players, specifically with Ashton and with Bradyn Swinson. I can tell you that when those guys talked about the game that they played on Saturday, there was a significant amount of optimism surrounding them. Swinson was a Defensive Player of the Week, so you understand that he's going to feel pretty good about that, even though South Carolina busted two 60-plus yard runs, even though South Carolina scored 33 points. Like, personally, you go out there and you have 3 sacks for the first time, as he said, since high school. Like, you're going to feel pretty good about that. But it was more than just his personal performance. He felt like they created a ton of havoc. He felt like they were difficult to block. He felt like they were making plays on the football. He felt pretty good about what they were doing, and he relayed that to us. And then you talked to Ashton, and he was talking about how, some bad things happen, but it's all about us kind of stepping up and having a short memory and going out there and making the next play. And I realized that young people have short memories and that young people adapt a little bit better than those of us who are getting older, or those of us that are have been fans for a very, very long time. They just don't sweat things as much as we do. I mean, I was thinking about this as I was walking out, and because I was just taken aback by their demeanor. And it's the same conversation that I had after the USC game, when I thought that their attitude was a very, very good one when they came in to talk to us. I was thinking about how the fans reacted to the Florida Game 2 domination of LSU in the College World Series. And I came back on the air with very little voice on Monday, and I was like, folks, these kids do not care about that game anymore. They know they have one game to go out there and play and win. And they don't care. They just got beat by 20 in Game 2 of the national championship in a game they could have won the national championship in. They just don't care. And I realize that there are a lot of LSU fans that are just really downtrodden about the defensive performances week after week. You're really disappointed that you couldn't stop USC from going right down the field 2 times in a row to win the game. That you're really disappointed that Nichols had 3 straight scoring drives of over 65 yards. You're really disappointed that Nichols busted right up the seam in the second half after a bad first half of defense and the guys didn't snap out of it and execute. And you're disappointed that it took a backup quarterback and 3 turnovers to get out of Columbia, South Carolina alive. And I understand that. I will tell you, and that's reasonable. It's perfectly reasonable for a fan not to be comfortable with that kind of defense from LSU. Perfectly reasonable. But I will tell you that the players and actually the coaches feel like they're pretty close to being better. Whether or not they are, I don't know. I'm probably closer to the fan perspective on this that's going, man, I'm not going to take 2 60-yard runs off the board against South Carolina when I just watched a 60-yard run against Nichols, and I just watched an entire season full of 60-yard runs. I'm not conditioned to go, but if you just take those 2 away, you hold them under 250 yards. And that's what Brian Kelly said. I'm probably closer to the fans going, hey, stop that. But they feel like they're getting closer. And I will tell you that in talking to Swinson and talking to Stamps, and I asked them both the same question, that was, hey, when you think about the game on Saturday, do you think more about the big plays that South Carolina made on offense? Do you think more about the big plays that you made on defense? And they both said that they think about the big plays that South Carolina made, but they also recognize that they did make some really big plays on defense. And honestly, if you're handicapping this team and you're assessing their ability moving forward, thinking they're going to come out at some point and start playing defense like last year's Michigan team or Georgia plays, or LSU from 19 or 11, that's not going to happen. But can they be a defense that creates some chaos? I think so. I think that's probably their strength. If I think about the best pieces of this LSU defense, I think of Swinson's pass rush. I think of Perkins' pass rush. I think of Savion Jones getting up the field like he did against USC and making some plays in the backfield. I think about the package they put in, that Prowler package that has Whit Weeks flying all over the place and Sage Ryan blitzing in and knocking the ball loose against Sellers on Saturday and injuring Sellers eventually because you got so much pressure. That's, I think, replicable some days. I think there's very little chance that LSU becomes some lockdown secondary or that the defensive tackles that they're putting out there in Bro and Shand, who's have converted end, and Lee and Washington, and those guys becoming, all league type players. Like that's not going to happen. What's got to happen for this LSU defense is that the talent that they do have and the things that they do well need to show up consistently. And that's probably going to result in some big plays for the other team, and that's probably going to result in some big yardages for the other team, and that's probably going to result in a couple more losses. But your hope is on a given Saturday that you can create enough havoc, that you can create some turnovers and hit the quarterback and make the quarterback uncomfortable and force some bad decisions. Because of that, your offense picks up the rest of the slack and you can win some close games like they did against South Carolina. And I'm telling you, the players believe that. And they feel like Saturday was some proof of that. I'm not telling you that's right. I'm telling you that's what they think. And I don't think Brian Kelly is giving lip service on Monday when he comes to the podium and says, hey, if we eliminate those 2 runs, we hold them to under 250 yards total offense. We hold them under 30 points. And if LSU holds teams to under 250 yards and under 30 points, they're going to win a lot of games. The proof will end up in the pudding, and we'll find out what this whole thing is, and we'll know in December. And there's got to be recruiting done on the defensive side, and there's got to be development done. And I think LSU's got the staff in place to make that happen. You can't wave a magic wand. But I was taken aback yesterday at the demeanor of the LSU players, specifically Swinson, who are not downtrodden, who do not bemoan the fact that LSU doesn't have a championship-level defense. He actually thinks, we got some dudes, and we made some plays. We just got to keep making more of them and keep getting better. And there's absolutely no piece to that LSU football program or locker room that feels like the season's over or that they're not good enough or that was a lucky win or any of that. And a lot's been made of the disconnect deal, and John Talty came on this show back on Monday, and I think all that's just a complete waste of time. But I talked to the players. That's real firsthand experience, and those guys are fired up to go play on Saturday. And my feeling about Saturday's game, and you'll get this as we move forward throughout the week, we got 2 more days to go on the show, is that LSU's going to put it on UCLA. Like, UCLA looks awful. They're statistically awful. It sounds like the personnel's awful. I don't know if the coaching's any good. And you just had a guy who, by all accounts, he covers UCLA. And I don't know if he went there or not. I don't know if he supports them or not, but he covers them. And he's looking going, this is not good. And that may be just what the doctor ordered. We talked about that when you walked off the field in Vegas. Okay, you've lost, and that's real bad because your margin for error just trimmed down heavily. But you're going to win against Nichols. You got to find a way to go to South Carolina and get it done. And if that's not exactly what they did, I don't know what to tell you. They found a way. And then you come back and you play a bad UCLA team and you play a South Alabama team you should overwhelm, and then you got a bye week, and then you throw the dice and see what happens. And I'd prefer that not be how it is. I'd prefer they go win in the game 1. I'd prefer they field a defense that doesn't give up big plays all this often. But these are the cards we got, so you got to play them. Interesting stuff. If you want to read my piece on Bradyn Swinson, Ashton Stamps, and the LSU defense, you can do it at louisianasports.net. Also up at louisianasports.net right now, Chris Marlar's SEC Week 4 Power Rankings. I'm going to give you mine coming up after this timeout. Marshawn Lattimore returned to practice. That is up there. Daniel Dickinson named to Baseball America's top 20 draft-eligible prospects. That's up at louisianasports.net right now. All of it is completely free. If you love LSU, if you love the Saints, if you love SEC football and want to read it, it's all at one place and it's all free. It's louisianasports.net. Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.